is a man that broke some news that the NBA had been waiting on for a long, long time. Remember, there was a couple incidents with a superstar player for the Memphis Grizzlies named John Morant where he was brandishing a gun recklessly. Can't do that, obviously, as an NBA player, NBA superstar. You're a bad influence. You're kind of ruining and diminishing the name. If you want to own guns and it's legal, completely go ahead and do that. We don't need you flashing them, throwing them around, acting as if having a gun and maybe shooting somebody is the cool thing to do, is what Adam Silver said to him whenever he suspended him the first time. Then whenever it happened again on another IG story where he's driving and throwing it around, Adam Silver comes out and says, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, very.
Not in my league. I don't like this happening at all. I thought we had an understanding. This guy pissed me off.
Yeah.
And then they said, we will wait till the offseason to announce the suspension and punishment for John Morant. It has been announced through this man's Twitter account. Ladies and gentlemen, senior NBA insider for the Stadium, The Athletic, and FanDuel TV, Shams Charania. Shams, let's dive into it. Congrats on the breaking news, although it's not great news. What is the punishment? What is it equal to? And is this what we all expected?
25 games. That's about 30% of the next NBA season. About 8 to 10 million in lost pay for John Morant next year. He's going into a massive 5-year, $190 million contract extension that he signed last summer. But I think another layer to all this is he's not going to be eligible now, Pat, for MVP, all NBA teams, any of the major awards. He's not going to be eligible for that this year. And so this is 25 games where he got 8 games at the end of the regular season this past season. He had an incident in the Denver nightclub. We talked about it. He was brandishing a gun on his own Instagram Live. He was waving a gun, showing a gun. And that's what led to his 8-game suspension from the team. And I think at that point, a lot of people were saying that it was light. You know, whether you're a basketball fan, I was talking to other NBA teams. They're saying, how did John Morant only get 8 games? But he got those 8 games. And then he comes back. The Grizzlies lose in the playoffs this year in the second round. And I think now, after it happens, 2 months later, the same incident happens. And John Morant met with Adam Silver and told Adam Silver this is not going to happen again. He was very contrite. I think everyone believed in John Morant. Everyone still wants to believe in John Morant. But the incident happens again. And the NBA's investigation, this is important, Pat. It found that John Morant had full understanding, awareness that he was showing the gun on a live stream. And he was fully aware that it was on his Instagram, on his friend's Instagram Live. So he had full, senses. He was fully aware of what was going on, and he did it. And so now 25 games. Another interesting wrinkle is the league, it's a minimum basically of 25 games because they're going to put him through a process. He's going to have to meet certain conditions to make it back on the floor. But this is interesting. I'm told that John Morant will have a say in those reinstatement processes. He's going to be able to have a voice and be able to dictate with the league, the Grizzlies, the NBPA to really find out exactly what that reinstatement process is going to be like and show everyone that he's learned. But yeah, I mean, this is just tough for the Grizzlies and finally what we've been waiting on for the last couple months.
Well, thank you for all that information. It would be funny if Adam Silver said, this is what you got to do. You got to post 15 times a day, okay? If you can survive 2 weeks without any of those posts involving you recklessly brandishing a gun, you'll be back in, okay?
Simple.
So we need you to actually do more social media as opposed to less. What could it potentially be that he would have to pass a few steps? Like, other than not posting himself doing something that they just told him not to do, what would it be? Having other types of discipline and control and other, like what, how does that look, you think?
My sense is that it's pretty open-ended. I think the league wants John Morant to be a part of dictating and being able to set exactly what that is. I don't think, clearly this just came down. I don't think John Morant knows exactly what that process could be. I don't think the league fully knows. But Adam Silver, one thing he said today in his statement is this is beyond basketball, right? Like basketball has to take a back seat. And I think it's just about figuring out a way where John Morant can show everyone, can show himself, can show the Grizzlies, the organization, the league, that this is not going to happen again, that he's understanding of what happened. So I honestly don't know. Like, do you meet with,
what if he has to pass a
activists?
test? What if he has to pass a test of finding phones that are filming him?
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Gun away. Okay. Don't do something stupid. Okay. There's a camera on. Why? I should just do this in my fucking house. Okay. This is all. Like, is that so? You're saying gun awareness camps?
Listen, I'm just throwing different things out there. Like, when Kyrie Irving, let's look at something that was somewhat similar, but not really. But like Kyrie Irving, when he went through his suspension during the year, the NBA really let it up to him to kind of show them that he's moved past the link, and he met with a few
That movie,
Jewish groups, and so I think just whatever initiative that Ja Morant decides to take. Now, listen, he might decide to take no initiative. I don't know. I'm not Ja Morant, but I'm saying clearly what it seems like is the league wants him to show some level of initiative to show that, listen, this happened once, this happened twice, this is not going to happen a third time. And I think what people around the Grizzlies, I think what people around the league, what they all want is for Ja Morant to be back on the floor and be back to being Ja Morant, which is just a positive, I think, figure. I think anyone that knows Ja Morant knows he's a good person, good heart, and I think they want him to basically, show that through his actions and not just words.
Yeah, you just got to mature, man. It's not easy getting a lot of money whenever you're young. It's not easy having a lot of attention and spotlight. Not every time is it handled perfectly. He obviously just has to grow up. I think that is probably what a lot of people are thinking. Like, hey, these are things you can't do anymore. All right, you're Ja Morant. You're one of the faces of not only the league, but Powerade, Nike, I believe, and everything else. Like, hey, come on now, you got to be a fucking, all right? You got to be an adult now. So there's some things you won't be able to do. Hopefully he'll be able to accomplish that. And to your point, I guess there is a chance he just says, no, I'm not going to prove that I won't be brandishing a gun on the phone anymore. And they put him in like an obstacle course. Like, all right, if you can complete this obstacle course with getting all the questions right. One of them is like maybe at a restaurant, how do you tip? How do you talk? How do you handle? How do you do this? Somebody tries to push you. Do you fight them? No. You walk out. Let's go into the next room. And then there'll be like there'll be like some music on. And like, hey, we're filming in a fucking rap video. And then he looks at it and he says, one gun. No, actually, I got two guns. I guess there is a chance that he could just say fuck you to everybody after two strikes. But it feels like this is going to be the one, right? Everybody has faith?
I mean, he's coming. He came out with a statement today apologizing, taking ownership of the situation and how he feels like he let Adam Silver, the league, the Grizzlies, everyone down, his sponsors, like you said, Powerade. Nike came out with a statement. Nike is standing by him for now. So you have that playing a factor, but I think just overall, you look at the incidents that have happened over the last year or so. There was an incident with a high school prospect in Memphis where there was a physical altercation, where there were lawsuits there on both sides. There was an incident at a mall with Ja Morant and his family. There was an incident at the Pacers arena with a laser that was apparently pointed by someone around Ja Circle. There was no investigation showed that Ja Morant did anything wrong there, but it was an incident that the NBA looked into.
He's around it.
Put a beam on him.
And then the Denver situation happens. Then this situation. And this incident that happened on May 13th, this literally happened in broad daylight. Like, this was going on in the middle of the day, what it looked like. It's one of these things where I think everyone wishes it could have been avoided, right? Like, that's what you hope. And I think the fact that this happened twice, initiative more than words, I think is what's going to rule the day.
All right. Well, last question, because we know you don't have a lot of time, and we appreciate you joining us on this incredibly heavy news Friday. Friday news dump almost, it does feel like a little bit of. But there's been news coming out of one camp that obviously is alarming us, and we hope everything gets worked out.